My dad, Joe Kinkella, was a test pilot in the 1950s and 60s. This story is in his own words of a test flight he took out at the Palmdale Edwards Range, where he escaped from a Clingy F100. But first, like, subscribe, and enjoy.
F100C, and I touched down, and one of the brakes locked on touchdown. It may have been locked at touchdown, I don't know. The tower says, "You've blown a tire," and I said, "Roger." And they said, "You're on fire right here," and I said, "Roger." But I still had steering, so it didn't tear a line off. And he said, "It's really burning." Now, the wind was blowing. I was landing to the north on that main runway, and the wind was just very lightly, maybe 2 or 3 knots. I was into the wind. Now, the airplane went past the tower wise on the runway, and so I disappeared in the smoke from the tire, where it was burning and everything. They couldn't see how I was doing. And they said, "You're really burning now, so get out when you can." See, and I was stopping. They could see an outline of the airplane through the smoke, but that's about it. And that's all they could see. And so I looked down the runway, and I could see the fire trucks already starting up the clear way down, heading towards me. And so the tower was saying, "Hey, you're really burning. Better get out." And well, I couldn't see because you're set way up front in an F100. You can't see with the gear. You can't see anything back there. And of course, the wind is blowing all the fire and smoke back. Yeah. And so, anyway, I thought, well, I better get out. First thing that happened, well, now, you want to remember that you're strapped in. You got shoulder straps with great big buckles that come down, fastened to your safety belt. You've got a lanyard when you hook up for low altitude when you're in the pattern in case you eject. The seat when you separate, you got automatic seat separation, which automatically pulls your ripcord for quick deployment. And you hook that up as you enter the pattern at low altitude. It's hooked up when you take off, but as you climb through 3,000 or 4,000 feet and gain speed, you disconnect it. And so it was hooked. What else? Of course, I had my helmet on, and the radio stuff all hooked, oxygen mask, the whole bit was all hooked up to the hose. So the first thing I did when they were still listening to them, I thought, oh, okay. So I flipped my safety belt off and stood up and got slammed back into the seat. My shoulder straps caught me around the neck, these buckles, and slammed me back into the seat. So I got those out, stood back up, got pulled back down, oxygen mask was still hooked up, radio. So I got those undone, stood back up, and my low altitude lanyard was hooked up to my parachute back into the seat. I thought, oh Christ. So I unhooked that, looked around. Now, am I really unhooked? Of course, the fire trucks are coming. I could see the red lights flashing, and I saw a guy waving, I didn't know whether he was waving for me to get out, or we're here, or hello, or what.
And there's no ladder to get out.
No.
The plane is it's a tall plane.
About 10 feet up there.
Yeah.
And so.
And you'd be jumping out onto cement.
Oh, yes. So, anyway, I finally got all unhooked and made sure I was unhooked. By this time, about 4 times I got yanked.
Hang yourself.
I hooked back into the cockpit.
Yeah.
And I finally said, look, it's not burning yet. It's not blown up. So am I clear?
Yeah.
And I stood up and slid over the side and then kind of hang on and drop down. Well, it was a long drop, really, to cement. What? I guess I'd traveled 4 or 5 feet is all, from the time hanging on, which is still,
It's a long drop on this.
yeah. So I kind of hit and rolled. Had sore ankles for a while.
Yeah.
Didn't sprain them, but they were
Yeah.
tender, and I was a little stiff and sore. So about that time, the fire truck was the first one was pulling up, and by this time I was on the ground, and I could see that it was just smoking like hell, and there was a little bit of flame from the hydraulic oil, is all. And they give it just one shot, and from their great big thing, they said, "Stand back, move," You come up from this truck, great big deal, and it was out just like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the end. If you enjoyed this story, share it with someone and make sure to leave a comment. This is the test pilot's daughter saying, until later, over and out.